Have you ever seen a creepy mirror? How about a mysterious abandoned mansion? Well, today I've got both for you. So get ready, because here's the story of the mirror that eats your soul. There was once an abandoned mansion on the edge of town. It was hidden behind a thick wall of thorny trees that locals believed were there to keep something inside and something out. Legend had it that inside the mansion, in a dusty room upstairs, hung a mirror that didn't reflect your face, but instead showed your darkest, bloodiest fears. Many who had heard the tale as children refused to believe it, chalking it up to superstitious nonsense. But every full moon, when the wind howled through the trees and the old house groaned, even the bravest souls would swear they heard screams echoing from within its walls. One night, a group of friends decided to put the legend to the test. There was Emily, the brave or maybe foolish leader of the pack, whose curiosity had no bounds. Beside her walked Tom, always up for a good scare, and timid Charlie, who was only there because his friends had insisted. As they approached the house, the moon hid behind a cloud, plunging the yard into darkness. "I can't believe we're actually doing this," Charlie whispered, his voice shaking. "I'm getting a really bad feeling about this." But Emily just grinned, her eyes shining with excitement. "That's half the fun, isn't it?" They crept closer, pushing through the tangle of thorny branches that formed a wall around the house. When they finally reached the front door, it was clear that no one had entered or left the house in a very long time. But as if inviting them in, the door creaked open. "Well, here goes nothing," Emily said, stepping inside. The air inside the house smelled of iron and rot. The floorboards creaked ominously beneath their feet, and the walls seemed to whisper secrets from ages past. Dust motes danced in the faint beams of light that managed to penetrate the gloom, swirling and eddying like restless spirits. As Emily moved deeper into the house, she could feel the weight of countless untold stories pressing down on her, each step echoing not just in the silence of the house, but in the chambers of her heart. The stairs groaned under their weight as they climbed, step by agonizing step, towards the room where the mirror was said to reside. Finally, they reached a landing outside, what appeared to be the last door at the end of the hallway. With bated breath, they stood before it, the silence broken only by the pounding of their hearts. Emily, her voice barely a whisper, spoke the words that broke the spell. "Are you ready?" she asked, her eyes wide in the dim light. Tom, his bravado momentarily forgotten, nodded, his face pale. Charlie, his eyes squeezed shut, simply breathed a shaky yes. And so they pushed open the heavy door and stepped inside. The room was dark, the windows long covered with dust-laden curtains, the only light filtering through cracks in the walls. In the center, shrouded in shadows, stood a full-length mirror framed by ornate, tarnished silver. But it wasn't the mirror's appearance that commanded their attention, but what lay just beyond its reflective surface. Taking a deep breath to steady herself, Emily approached the mirror, her friends close behind. She could feel their gazes upon her, their breaths mingling in the stagnant air. As she reached out to pull back the curtain, Tom grabbed her arm, his fingers digging into her skin. "Are you sure about this, Em?" he asked, his voice hoarse. She turned to him, her eyes shining with a mixture of fear and determination. "There's no turning back now, Tom," she replied, her voice resolute. With the trembling hands, Emily pulled aside the heavy velvet curtains, revealing the mirror's surface. Gazing into its depths, she saw not her own reflection, but her greatest fear staring back. The image was distorted, grotesque, a mockery of her own face contorted in a silent scream. Behind her, she heard gasps and a strangled cry. Turning slightly, she saw Tom and Charlie, their faces ashen, their eyes wide with terror. In their reflections, their forms seemed twisted, monstrous. But it was what lay beyond those reflections that truly chilled her to the bone. Within the mirror's depths, she saw a tall, gaunt figure with eyes that burned like hot coals. It beckoned to her, its lips curled in a cruel smile, revealing teeth that were long and sharp as shards of glass. With a sudden jolt, Emily realized that the figure in the mirror wasn't just her greatest fear. It was her friend's greatest fears made manifest. The creature lunged towards her, its claws extended, and Emily screamed. As the creature surged forward, its claws raked across the mirror's surface, leaving long, bloody scratches. Startled, Emily stumbled back, her eyes wide with terror. The creature let out a guttural screech that echoed through the room, reverberating off the walls and mingling with Emily's own screams. She could feel the mirror's icy touch on her skin as the creature reached out, its cold fingers brushing against her arm. Then, in a blink, it was gone. But the horror didn't end there. From the corner of her eye, she saw Tom and Charlie frozen in terror, their reflections trapped in the mirror's depths. Their faces were contorted in silent screams, their eyes pleading for help. Suddenly the mirror rippled like water disturbed by a stone, and the creature emerged, stepping out of the glass, its eyes fixed on Tom. With a speed that belied its grotesque bulk, it lunged forward, disappearing into the mirror again. This time, when it emerged, it was beside Charlie, who had collapsed to the ground, his face ashen. The creature reached out, its fingers dripping with some dark, viscous fluid, and touched Charlie's shoulder. He screamed, a primal, wordless sound that echoed Emily's own terror. The creature turned its burning gaze upon Emily, and she knew it was her turn. With a surge of adrenaline, she turned and fled. She raced through the house, her heart pounding against her ribs like a frantic bird. Behind her, she heard the creature's heavy footsteps pounding on the stairs, and Tom and Charlie's terrified screams echoing through the halls. Bursting through the front door, she stumbled out into the night, not daring to look back. The creature emerged behind her, its silhouette framed in the doorway, and Emily knew she couldn't outrun her fears forever.